This week in robotics honestly felt like a preview of the next 10 years. We got tiny robot that wants to replace your cameraman, a humanoid hand that is getting dangerously close to a human hand, a robot walking onto the World Cup pitch, robot bartenders, humanoid robots that doing surgeries, robots working in BMW and Mercedes factories, and China's Ministry of Industry and Technology just announced that this year alone they're on track to do 100,000 humanoid robots. My name is Tony, this is RoboNews. Grab some tea and some cookies, let's get started. The next cameraman will probably be a camera robot. It might be this tiny guy on wheels. This is Beni, a small camera robot from Mondo Robotics. And the idea is very simple. Instead of asking your friend to film you, setting up tripod, or flying a drone over everyone's head, Beni follows you around and records the shots for you. It films in 4K and can follow you across different terrain, avoid obstacles, jump, recover after falling, and according to Mondo, it can move up to 18 miles per hour. That means this little thing is not just a toy with camera. It is basically a tiny robotic camera crew. For creators, skaters, runners, pets, families, or anyone filming alone, this actually makes a lot of sense. Because most of people don't need a giant Hollywood camera setup. They just need something that follows them and gets the shot. I honestly love it because it feels like a robot for the people that is easy to understand. It's not made for factory, it's not made for investors, it's just like, hey, film me. But if we're talking about humanoid robots, then this hand is getting super close to an actual human hand. 1X just showed their new hands for Neo, and this is much bigger deal than it looks. Because of humanoid robots, walking is impressive, but hands are what actually make them useful. A robot can have the best AI in the world, but it cannot grab a cup, fold a shirt, open a drawer, or pick up something fragile. It is basically useless in a home. And 1X says Neo's new hands have 25 degrees of freedom. For comparison, the human hand has around 27. That does not mean the robot hand is as good as a human hand yet, but it means the shape, movement, flexibility, and moving in that direction. The hands are tandem driven, made to grip different objects, and built for real home tasks instead of just looking cool for a video demonstration. My prediction is simple. The first home robot that wins will not be the guy who walks around the best. It will be the one with the best hands. Remember last week we talked about Hyundai putting pressure on Boston Dynamics to make their robot Atlas commercially available. So now we have Atlas just hanging around the World Cup itself. Boston Dynamics Atlas made a special appearance at the World Cup during the Brazil versus Norway match. And this was not just a small tech conference demo. This was a global sports stage. The pressure is on. Atlas delivered the match ball, moved on real grass, and even copied football celebrations, including Eric Haaland's famous meditation pose. And that matters because robots are slowly moving into mainstream culture. Most people do not watch robotics conferences, but millions of people watch football. So when a humanoid robot appears at the World Cup, it changes how people see the robots. They stop feeling like weird machines hidden in labs. They start feeling like something that belongs in public life. Also, Boston Dynamics did the celebration of Norway. These guys are really trying hard to market the robots into everyday life. I think this is really smart. Before people can work together with robots or have them in their home, they need to get used to them. And global events like this is the best stage. Now let's get serious for a second, because for the first time, robots have entered operating rooms. This is probably one of the most important stories of this week. Researchers used humanoid robots in a surgery experiment on live pigs. Now, very important detail. These robots were not autonomous doctors. Human surgeons were controlling them remotely. But still, this is a major step for laparoscopic surgery, which is the kind of surgery done through small cuts using long tools and cameras. And the reason humanoids are interesting here is simple. Hospitals are built for humans. Operating rooms are built for humans. Tools are built for humans. So instead of building a giant specialized surgical machine, the idea is, what if a humanoid robot could use the same space and tools humans already use? That could matter in rural hospitals, emergency zone military medicine, or even in space one day. I don't think humanoid robots are replacing real doctors anytime soon, but here is the important catch. Remote surgeries. So a doctor can operate the robot from thousands of kilometers away. Think about it. From surgeries to bartending. A company just put a robot on 24-hour live stream to do cocktails. This is Adam, a humanoid-style robot from AI² Robotics. And Adam is not being presented as a robot that builds cars or carries boxes. Adam is a bartender, barista, boba tea maker, and event robot. Basically a robot for restaurants, hotels, cafes, stadiums, and hospitality. AI² even launched a 24-hour stream where people can interact with Adam online. And I think this is really interesting because restaurants are one of the most obvious places for robots to appear. Think about it. Making drinks is repetitive. Coffee shops need consistency. Bars get busy. Restaurants have labor shortages, and customers love novelty. So if a robot can make cocktails, coffee, and boba in a way that is reliable and entertaining, businesses will absolutely test it. I think we will see robot bartenders way earlier than we see robot chefs. And it makes so much sense. It's just easier. You come to the bar, you press a button, it shows you your exact line. You don't need to sit there and scream, hey, can I have vodka, cola, whatever. And the guy makes it perfectly every time. While some companies are still at startup mode, this company just raised $735 million for robots on wheels. AI² Robotics, a Shenzhen-based company building wheeled humanoid robots, reportedly raised $735 million at $2.8 billion valuation. And this connects perfectly to the Adam story. Because when people hear humanoid robot, they usually imagine a walking robot with 2 legs. But a lot of real-world robots might not need legs at all. In factories, warehouses, stores, hospitals, restaurants, wheels can actually make more sense. They are cheaper, more stable, and more energy efficient, and easier to deploy. So this funding tells us something important. The robot race is not only about who builds the most human-looking machines. It is about who can put useful robots into real businesses first. And investors are clearly betting that wheeled humanoids might get there faster. I think this is an underrated side of robotics. The coolest humanoid robot might walk, but the first robot that makes actual money might roll. These were the robots that you and me will see. But there are already 2 companies that work in car factories. And this is where the robot race starts to feel very real. Company Figure is working with BMW at plant Spartanburg, where their model Figure 3 is being showed in logistics use cases. And company Apptronik and their model Apollo is being tested with Mercedes-Benz for repetitive factory tasks like moving components and helping with initial quality checks. This is important because car factories are not toy environments. They are serious, high-pressure, high-value production systems. If a robot works there, even in a limited test, companies are not doing it just for fun. They're trying to answer one question. Can humanoid robots handle boring, repetitive, physical, annoying jobs inside real industrial environments? And now, the answer seems to be not perfectly yet, but the tests are getting more and more serious. I still don't think that factories will be full of humanoid robots tomorrow or even in 2027, but if BMW and Mercedes are testing them, this is not a science fiction. It is going to happen very soon. And if it's not going to happen in Europe or USA, it is going to happen in China, because they announced that this year alone, the 26th, they are going to produce more than 100,000 humanoid robots. China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology said that the country's humanoid robot production is expected to exceed 100,000 units this year alone. 100,000 humanoids in 1 year. And that is the difference between cool robot demo and actual industry. This is where China has a real advantage. They already have huge manufacturing capacity from electronics, EVs, batteries, and industrial automation. So if humanoid robots becomes a production race, China is not just participating. China will scale it faster and win it. My honest take, US has the most famous robot companies, but if we're talking scale, China can just produce way more. And if you produce more, it means they're cheaper. So this will be an interesting race to watch. So this week is interesting because it's one of the pivoting points where we don't just see robots in videos from companies, but we start seeing them on live streams behind the bars, performing surgeries. It's like the robotics industry is finally starting to slowly come in our everyday lives. I think the second part of 26 will be us acclimating to humanoid robots and robots being in our life. And then in 27, you'll suddenly start seeing robots just popping up everywhere. Technology is moving super fast. There are always some cool news to discuss about robotics. Subscribe and I will always keep you up to date. This was RoboNews, Tony offline.